Hey, this is Brett from Prepared Man. I've got Brandon and Jason with me today. And just the other day we were teaching a beginner's wilderness survival class, a woodsman's class. And the conversation of what our kits were, what our mess kits, what our meal kits, and what our cook kits look like. So we thought we'd pull them all out today and talk to you about what we think makes an ideal kit and show you our examples that we carry into the woods and just have that really good discussion and get started with the idea of carrying your own meal kit to improve your survivability or your ability to thrive in the woods.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
It takes this kit is on years of evolution right here. I mean, I started out carrying a coffee can with a couple holes drilled in it and picture hanging wire for a bell. I formed my own lid and everything to put on that coffee can, you know, and that was basically the kit that I carried for years, 7 or 8 anyways. But through the years, you know, with the evolution of what I carry and stuff, I've settled on this at the time. You know, new products come out every day. I like to try things out, you know, to see if they're better than what I'm carrying currently. But at the moment, for me, this is the ultimate kit. This is, in my opinion, the best thing that you can carry. We'll start off here. This is the 40-ounce clean canteen, stainless steel. It's bulletproof. I mean, you can't hurt this. It's been hung with fish mouth spreaders over a fire dozens of times. Carries 40 ounces of water. You know, water's vital to survival. Can't go wrong with it. And I nest a GSI Glacier Cup, I think is what they're called. The GSI Glacier Cup nests on the bottom. That's to eat out of, drink out of, what you will. Excellent little piece of kit, also made from stainless steel. Just great stuff. My cook pot, I own a bunch of different cook pots and I've used pretty much everything on this table and more, but this one I've been using the last 2 years. It's a Zebra, I think this is the 14 centimeter. I can't remember exactly, but it's seen a many a fire, probably a couple hundred. But it's bulletproof kit. I'm sure you've seen it on Ray Mears' videos. He's a big supporter of the Zebra pots. But really the thing that sets it apart to me, from the other options is this nice little pan that comes along with it. It sets perfectly down in, nests exactly right. You dry bake in this, make bannock. You know, you can steam vegetables. I've not had good luck steaming vegetables in it, but, you know, supposedly that's one of its claims to fame. But it's also good to eat out of and handy for, I mean, to drink out of even. I've done hot chocolate in this exact one right here one time. You know, but it's solid kit. Bell, the lid doesn't fit tight, which is something that a lot of people are looking for now. You know, the lid flops around. And if you've got the bowl out of it, it's even worse. I mean, it just wallers around there, you know. But this kit's served me well. It's been exactly what, it's done everything I've asked for. You know, it's been what I've looked for in a cook pot.
Go ahead, Jason.
This kit that I'm going to explain to you is a little bit different than what I would carry in the winter, mostly because I carry a smaller amount of fire to cook on. I'm a big man. I can't stand a lot of heat, so I carry more cooking options than just a wood fire. This little kit, it's made by Esbit, has a 16-ounce cup, which will also nest on a bottle. I usually don't carry it nested on a bottle. It has a stove stand that comes with it. That is an excellent little stove stand. I carry an Esbit, which is basically the Trangia copy. Alcohol stove. I carry it full of alcohol. That nests down inside. I also carry, I think I have them laying here in a bag, I carry 3 Esbit solid fuel tablets. That will all nest down in the cup, and the lid goes on top of it. That is just basically so I don't have to build a fire in the summer. We've had days today, hottest part of it's about 15 minutes till 7 right now, which it's cooled down quite a bit. It was about 95 degrees today, and I'm not going to build a fire on a day like
Humidity
today.
of 80%.
Humidity of 80%, so you know it's pretty pretty miserable. But this stove will accommodate any type. It will accommodate this cup, which I don't normally use. This is the kit that the main kit that I carry. It has a 32 ounce tapered guide design bottle, which won't actually sit on there, but inside this I have a Stanley cook set. I have a small stove that you can actually set in the fire that I made myself. The Stanley cook set will sit on top of this stove, and I actually have I think this is a 25 ounce Pathfinder cup that sits on top of this stove. Works really well for me. I like having a lot of options. Brett actually put the idea of nesting the Stanley cup inside my Pathfinder cup, and then with a little piece of cotton material, I actually nest the tapered bottle inside there. That all makes compact carry and storage. That's 1, 2, 3 different boiling options. And I also carry the traditional aluminum Miro type Moore's pot. I carry a lot of stuff inside that, as you can see. That will also sit on top of there. And with the stove, actually, a lot of people don't recommend this, but I fill this stove as full as I can get with denatured alcohol. That will burn, depending on how much the wind's blowing. I would say if the wind's blowing a little bit, it's burning a little more alcohol, probably 20 minutes. If the wind's still, I would say it would go as much as 30 minutes. But that's what I carry in my main pack. I actually have a separate kit that I can carry, or sometimes I do not carry, but I actually have a separate kit that I carry in my haversack. I have one of the 3-piece Esbit stoves. This actually comes apart in 3 pieces. It folds flat, goes in its own little Velcro nylon pouch, very thin. It has a plate that goes inside that you can actually use the Esbit solid fuel tabs, and it also has notches, and this is one thing that I like, that I can use my alcohol stove inside of. I think Brandon has one of these that he has used that he likes really well. You can use the Esbit stove inside of that, or the solid fuel tabs. And this, along with a small plate that I made out of, I think this was actually a 12-volt power supply housing. I just cut a piece out of it. Works really well for my haversack bottle, which is the Swiss Flask. It's a 500 milliliter bottle that has a removable cup. Sets it on there. And you know, this kit, I have several different other options that I can carry, but this kit works well for me as a main carry. I also have sitting back here this pot. I've not used it yet. I bought this last week. This is actually the it's an Imusa brand grease pot from Walmart. It costs less than $7. It comes with a little strainer. I took that out. I actually store my fire kit in this pot. I've not, like I said, I've not used it yet. I've drilled holes for a bale. I've not actually come up with anything that would be a good material for a bale yet. Probably coat hanger. I remove the plastic cap and put a stainless steel screw in the top of it so it doesn't burn off when it's in the fire. But this is something that I'm carrying in my kit right now. Like I said, I've not used it yet. I don't see why it wouldn't work. It's fairly heavy gauged aluminum. But, you know, it actually fits inside the bag that I carried my fire kit in. I keep my fire kit tied up in a cotton handkerchief down on the inside of it. So it actually doesn't take up any more space in my main pack than my fire kit did. So I've been carrying it. I've not done an overnight yet to actually get to use it. But I think that this, you know, for the money, it was $6.97 at Walmart. I think it was less than $7. And, you know, it's a heavy gauged aluminum. Of course, you have to treat it like you would anything else, which is not a problem for me. I carry an aluminum Morse pot, so I treat it with a little more care than you would have to, say, a stainless steel pot. This one's Brett's. The zebra pot that Brandon carries is stainless steel. You know, you can basically put those in the fire empty, and it's not going to hurt them. You can't really do that with aluminum, but I've never had any trouble yet. But you know, that's just basically the kit that I carry in the summer. In the winter, I don't carry the stove and I don't carry the fuel taps because, you know, temperatures are a lot lower and you can stand to be close to a fire to cook on for light and stuff like that. In the summer, I carry more options for light and more options for cooking than I do in the winter, just simply because, you know, we have 95-degree days with 80% humidity, and you know, I just don't like the heat that much.
Sit around the fire and
yeah,
sweat.
sit around the fire and sweat. That's not relaxing to me out in the woods. So I've talked long enough. I'm gonna turn it over to Brett, see what he's got.
Well, my kit that I use in the woods is a little different than a lot of people's because I'm an avid collector of outdoor cook gear. I've got tons of outdoor cook gear. Just over the last few years, I've really got interested in the World War II era military cook gear. I've got most of it, and we'll look at some of that maybe here in just a couple of seconds as some options. And I've carried a lot of it, but our evolution of our kit is a lot the same. I carried one of these for years. I cooked in this thing for years. I cooked macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles and beef stew and stuff like this. This is a great little pot, and I carried one for a long time. I even dry baked in mine on an alcohol stove because aluminum conducts electricity, aluminum conducts heat very well. So you can boil water very fast with it. So I carried one of these a long time. I've since moved up to, actually got in a really good trade and wound up with one of these Pathfinder bush pots. While I don't recommend this for everyday use for people just because they're so expensive, it's a pretty good pot. It's got a nice secure lid, good heavy bail. I like this round bail because it gives me more rotation and it has the butterfly handles, which is something I'm looking for in my current search for the ideal pot. I carry this because right now in these hot temperatures I need water and a lot of water. I drink a lot of water, very rarely drink any type of pop or anything like that, so I drink a lot of water. And in the woods, I'd much rather be boiling water in this than in one of these nesting cups like this. And I actually don't have a stainless bottle that I carry and boil water in right now. I actually just got in a trade for a clean canteen style bottle and a nesting cup. I also carry this Stanley kit. This is my Stanley cook kit. I bought this as soon as I saw them on the internet. I actually went out and found one and traveled a pretty good distance just to buy this kit. And the only modifications I've done to this kit, other than just throwing the stuff in the inside away, I've put key rings and everything in the world in this one. I actually burnt my last key ring straight. It got so hot that it started to spread and straighten out. So I've got a Night Eyes S-Beaner in here right now because I've seen some other people using it. I don't know how to work out.
Those are stainless and they're very, very tough. So.
Yeah. I don't know how long it will last. We'll see. But I burnt the tab off mine, I think, maybe 3 hours after buying it. As soon as I got home, I burnt the tab off of it. Inside, I always carry an alcohol stove. I carry a soda can stove in this one. This is just a little modification of a plan I found on the internet. But I always carry these because it will sit on it and I don't have to have a pot stand for it. I keep one of the cups in it, and this is just my brew kit. And I use this kit a lot. This kit's seen heavy use. And I actually switched out my nesting cup that was on it. I don't have one of the Pathfinder bottle kits yet, so I just use one of the, this is a cheapo from Walmart. Just a knockoff of the Glacier cup. It's actually a really good sturdy cup. And I've got 3 or 4 of these, and this is the one that I've got that looks like it's seen the least use. So I just nest it on there and use it as well. And I usually stuff like a washcloth or a microfiber towel or something around that keeps it from rattling. A couple of the features that I look for, not only as a collector, but somebody that uses these in the woods, is it's got to have a bail. If a pot doesn't have a bail, to me, I'm going to put a bail on it, or I'm not going to use it. I've got a lot of cook kits that I don't use that I just keep for collector's value because they don't have a bail. I'm going to take a minute and just show them some of the other options that I have and that I carry. I carry this pot right now. It's got a really nice bail. I like this bail. Like I said, I carried one of these. I never actually put a bail in mine. I set it right in the fire, and that's why I put a bail in everything I use now, because it would get so hot and it was so miserable to use it.
And in the winter, it's more of a hassle. It's easier to me in wintertime, especially with snow on the ground, to actually couple fork sticks and or however you want to suspend it. But it's easier to suspend a pot with a bail over the fire than it is to clear out a spot in the snow, rake coals out, and set this on those coals, you know. It's more versatile.
Yeah, I really like a bail, I do. And just for pourability, I really like a pouring spout as well.
And really, that's the only fault I have to this cheap pot, is that it doesn't have a bail on it. And like I said, I've drilled holes in here. I've tried a couple of different types of material, but I haven't found anything that I like for a bail yet. I will, but that's the only fault that I have to that, is that it doesn't have a bail.
They even have a pouring spout in them. It's very small, little indent, but it's got one. This has a pouring spout in it. I'm actually on the search right now for one of these Morse pots, because it has a spout with a strainer in it, and I just really like that option. Some people don't, because it takes up that little half-inch in your pack.
It doesn't. Really and truthfully, in my pack, this pot in my soot sack that I made out of, actually made a soot sack for that out of canvas, out of military green canvas, handmade it. I don't think that it would take up any more room than this pot or this pot right here that doesn't even have a pour spout on it.
It's
If this was available, if somebody could find a version of this exact pot in stainless steel, I would never look for another pot again.
the Peak One is very similar that GSI makes, but it's got a glass lid.
It's glass lid, yeah.
And, you know, I just don't carry, there's one item that I carry that's easily breakable in the woods, and that's thanks to you and thanks to some other men that have carried them for years before that.
Porcelain teacup.
I carry a teacup with me, and that's just because your hot chocolate you made in that bowl burnt your lip. I know it did, because the one that I'm making this burns my lip.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's hard to drink. Got a stainless steel.
it is.
I actually do carry, this is an old Corel ware teacup. This was, and I have to thank the man that drank coffee out of this the last time for my love for the outdoors and bushcrafting. This was the last coffee cup that my father drank coffee out of before he passed away. So I carry this in here, and as soon as Brett saw that, he came up with one also.
Yeah, I came up with the old one. Instead of the green, it's got brown in it, but it's pretty much the same. This was a military kit that I carried a lot, and this is something that I will have to say, when I was a boy, when I was 14, you could go to trade shows and buy cases of these for $10. And the last one I saw go on eBay sold for $180. So they're that ridiculous. This one's stainless. This is a Swedish mess kit, and mine's complete just because all of my military kits are complete because I collect them, like I said. I have a spout, but just due to its shape and a couple of tricks, the way that they were trained to use them, you can flip them around, and I think you have to do a magic chant and all this different stuff and make it into a bowl that you can pour from, or you can take a stick and jam in there and pour from it, which is what I do. But this kit's stainless. I actually have an aluminum one that I carry if I'm walking a lot, just because it's the same pot. But this is a really good option if you find a case of these that your old uncle or cousin or somebody bought for $5 or $6 when they were a kid, like they used to sell them when I was a kid. We've got a great little kit.
I think you said the difference in weight between the stainless and the aluminum is pretty much phenomenal.
Yeah, I think this kit is 4 times heavier than my aluminum kit. 4 times. And the only thing different is the pot. The stove and everything's the same. Another kit that I've carried some, this is a Swiss Volcano kit, and I've carried it quite a bit. It has a mug and a bottle that you can boil water, and I can also cook with it. So I just set this down in here, but I have to build a wood fire where I can rattle around one of my little cat stoves down in there and use it. This kit's really nice. It's really neat. But just to be honest, I'm like every other person that ever bought one of these. They bought it because it had Volcano in the name. And that's why I own this one. I got this in a trade. I think I got this off Cody Burrows. If I did, thanks to Cody. If I didn't, thanks to whoever I got it off of. I can't remember now. Another kit that I see that's really popular, and we've all owned them and never used them much. This is the MSR Stowaway kit. This is the MSR Seagull is the one I've got, which is 1.1 liter. Is that what it is? 1 liter,
Yeah.
1.1 liter. They make 3 different sizes or 4 different
The
sizes.
one that I have is a 7.75. It's just a little less than a
I
little.
think they make a 4.45, which is about like a good teacup, and I think they make a 1.6, which is massive too. The thing I don't like about this kit, first thing, it's too shallow to boil a significant amount of water in. You can take this clasp, fleck it over, and hold it over a fire, but it's shallow. When it starts to roll, it'll boil. It'll do this number on a toggle or on a string. There's no pouring abilities whatsoever without sticking your hand inside the pot and pouring water on your hand. This kit's really nice. It's a great little kit. Be great to put your fire kit in or something like that because it locks up tight. But as far as being usable in the woods, at least to me, this is not what I'm looking for.
I carried one forever as a backup container, and all it saw use as was carrying my fire.
That's basically what I kept in mind. And I had really good luck. The best luck I had with my 7.75 is I actually killed a squirrel and put the cap on it, locked the bale down, and I actually pressure cooked this. I took this and set it in the fire, pressure cooked a squirrel in it, which made it really tender. But, you know, this kit, to me, just like Brett said and Brandon said, is not near as versatile as a bush pot.
It would be
type.
excellent for backpacker or hiker that uses
On an alcohol stove.
Yeah.
uses one of these Esbit or Trangia alcohol stoves. You know,
Yeah.
it's perfect for that.
Which makes it great for summertime. I mean, if you go out with your buddies and you know I'm going to cook ramen noodles and instant mashed potatoes and a can of chicken, that's a great little pot for that. It's going to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're actually going to be out in the bush and you're boiling water to live, to me, you want a pot that'll boil at least 1 liter of water that has a bale. It definitely has to have a bale. I really like having butterfly handles.
Yeah.
I love them. And I like the pour spout because I miss them too many
I miss
times.
the butterfly handles with this. I own a Pathfinder pot also,
Yeah.
and I don't know, just
The reason
nostalgia is what gets me
The
with
reason
this. I've done so
I
much
like the
with it.
butterfly handles on the Morse pot, on the Pathfinder pot, and also if I can get a bale on here, this actually has a handle on it too. It doesn't fold down. But you can actually take 2 bifurcated sticks, which are just basically forked sticks. You can pick it up with one, hook the other one in it, and pour with it, and never have to touch the pot, never burn your hands.
Yeah.
It's much easier to get them in and out of the fire. You can hook these 2 and pull it out. You can hook this one and lift it up. But this is, in my opinion, and I've heard Morris Kohansky say it, that he wouldn't own a pot without handles on the side and a bale. And I can understand why after some of the different pots that I've used. This one, it has a nice frying pan type handle that folds out. But if that's sitting in the fire, you really, really and truthfully have to have a pair of gloves to pull that out.
Yeah,
You can
it'll
hook a
need
stick in it and pull
gloves.
it out, but you risk turning over whatever you're cooking. And you know, if you're in a survival situation, not just a bushcrafting situation, if I have a squirrel in there that it's took me 24 hours to catch or trap or kill, I don't want the possibility that it's going to turn out.
Or boiling
into the
water,
fire.
that may be the only
boiling
water
water.
that
That
you
may
get.
be the only water that you have. Yes,
Find
that's
it in time.
very true.
That's the whole reason on the Swedish mess kit they put these little D-rings that trim down a stick to put in there to get it on and off the fire. And, you know, the Swedish, God love them, the Swedish and the Swiss put a lot of thought into all of their military
Yes, they
gear.
did.
Yes, sir.
Everything you have, when you get to using it, you're like,
That's-
oh, that's why they done
That's
this.
the very
This makes
reason
sense.
that I carry
Their gear.
sometimes of the year, I will actually forego this bottle, and I carry 2 of these.
So anyway, this is some of the meal kits and the cook kits that we've used in the woods. It's a constant evolution with my mania to collect these and just our use in the woods and breaking stuff and getting burnt and tearing stuff up. I'm sure this will change, but these are the kits that we chose, and I hope this was informative to you guys. Just my word of advice is don't go out and invest in any one man. Don't go out tonight and say I have to buy everything that Brandon owns or everything that Jason owns or everything that I own or everything that anybody you've seen on TV or all over YouTube owns or promotes or sells. Really take the time to think about what you're going to do in the woods and what kind of cooking you're going to do or what type of needs you have, and then go from there when you buy your kits and you put together your kits. That's my word of advice. We're the Prepared Man. Stay safe, guys.
See.